So I pulled some cards a little bit ago, and the first was magnetism through gratitude, which is talking about if you appreciate the things, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, that you have currently, bigger things to be grateful for will be drawn to you. And there's Destiny Path, which talked about you're currently on the right path, keep going. And then Victory said that the key to your victory is discipline. And I feel like this past week's kind of been a struggle in the discipline department. I keep feeling like I want to do a video and then allowing everything else to get in the way of it. So I did one Thursday night. And it was fine, except my cockatiel, Buddha, is by himself. His mate died about a little under a week ago. Be a week tomorrow. And as soon as I started talking, he would not shut up. And it was just really obnoxious little chatter. Kept going, did it anyway. And then he was kind of all over the place again today. Yesterday. And I ended up not doing it again, even though I wanted to. And then today has been an ordeal trying to get to. Because this is one of those weekends where nobody's at home except for me and my dogs. And I like it that way. But while it's been peaceful, I don't know, I still let everything get in the way. I went out. Okay, since Buddha was being very loud and jabbery today, I decided to go try outside. Well, then, if I sat on the one side of the tree I normally sit at, then the sun was directly in my face, so I moved to the other side of the tree, and it was fine, except for, there was a breeze that kept blowing, and my hair was all jacked up, and it was distracting and chilly. So I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. So I moved to a different tree, closer to the house, and kind of figured maybe the house would block some of the wind. And I think it kind of made it worse. So that was frustrating as well. So I decided to pack up and come over here to the school where I normally skate. I donated platelets today, so I can't skate. And brought my little sidekicks with me again, because I hadn't been over here for this in a while. Gidget's like, Gidgy. Yeah. Normally she waits, and as soon as I start talking, she's like, oh shit, we're doing this again. So yeah. But no, then I come over here, and I found that if I'm behind the school, facing the school, then it blocks the sun nicely. And then of course I have most of my windows up, which granted they need washed in a bad way. But it was nice. Except there was a guy on a motorized scooter walking his German Shepherd, and of course they started moving in the direction I was going, so Taz starts panning more, and then I happened to turn around and look the other direction, and then there's 3 people walking another dog, and it's like, oh, Taz is gonna go off. So I turned the car on because I saw him coming, and came down to Gracie's school and parked right behind her school, at the drop-off line, or where we would be going through for the drop-off line. Yeah. But I can definitely see where it's that discipline issue, and that's always kind of been an issue that I've struggled with. Things get difficult, and it's like, maybe I'm just not meant to do it. But I don't feel like that with this. I feel like I am supposed to be doing this, even if I haven't quite completely got to where I'm supposed to be. I feel like it is doing what it's meant to be doing at a spiritual level, at very least for me, if not anybody else. Although I disagree with that sentiment from the standpoint of everything is connected, so whatever work you do affects the collective in some way anyway. But yeah, like I decided today when I was donating platelets, because it's like an hour and a half process, that I was going to watch a movie, so I did that, and watched Insidious, The Red Door, and it was the last of the Insidious movies, or the most recent, and I hadn't seen it yet, so I figured, why not do that? And of course, I got done donating like 15 minutes before the movie was over. It's like, well, close. But I still came home to finish it out. I feel like since I've been scattered as much as I have been, and, I'll think one day that I want to do a video and here's some ideas about what I might want to talk about. Then I get over here and it's like, now what? I have been, yesterday, one of my cards actually, like the first 3 I drew were pretty relevant to, I feel were relevant to the video I did the day before, where, I was talking about some heavy stuff in connection to my grandfather, my dad, and my uncle. And what was the first card? I'm drawing a blank. I remember the second one was release, and the third was purification. And the first one was something similar, but I don't remember what it was right off. And that was from the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise, Linn. But yeah, it was talking about letting things go and cleansing your space, basically. And, I feel like, okay, the stuff I talked about with my uncle is like stuff that had come up several weeks ago, but I didn't feel like that was the time to mention it. And then for whatever reason, I ended up going that route a couple days ago. And it was just as heavy as I thought it would be. And at the same time, I feel like it was necessity for getting that whole event out of my system to begin with. Now, I'm sure, as with everything, it'll probably come up again at some point in time where I have to, be made aware of some other underlying element to it, or to the journey that ended up with me being there, or how that has affected things in any other kind of way. But I feel like I needed to talk about it to get it out of my system, and then, kind of do a little bit of cleanse and really let it go. And that's the whole thing anyway. I ended up spending a bunch of time yesterday putting like 3 months worth of laundry that I just kept robbing the stack and moving the stack, and I finally put the stack up and started purging some of the stuff that's too big now, or that I just don't want anymore. But that's going to be a whole thing too, because, like the leggings, I can sell those on Marketplace pretty easy, but they're still, still gotta, make sure there's not dog hair on them, make sure I can take a good picture of them, take the pictures of them, decide how much I'm going to put on them. Nothing difficult, just tedious. but I know I need to do it because I know, like, past experience says leggings go pretty quick. And it was that way when I started wearing them all the time, because I looked on there and found a bunch of the ones that I am going to be selling. I bought off there about 4 years ago. So yeah. I was trying to like, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on like everything. Oh, that was something. I talked about that level with my grandfather on Thursday where like he always draws attention to like my lip ring or whatever, the thing that's different about me that's most obviously noticeable. And it always felt like it was a way of, you're not like us, you don't belong. That was always how it weighed on me and how it affected me. And yesterday was kind of an interesting experience because I ended up taking my aunt and my grandma over to the nursing home, and I decided to wear the horror movie baddies leggings and my T-Turtle horror character shirt. And I don't remember who he asked me if somebody was on my pants. But it was like I don't know if it's like an old actress or musician or something. But he asked me if I had this one lady, like, if it was her face on my pants. It's like, nope. It's like, I don't even know who that is, but it's not. But then, that was a little moment where I remembered where my mom talked about he used to watch horror movies with her. And it's like, okay, well, what the hell? Let's go with that approach, right? So, I told him, that it's a bunch of characters from horror movies, and went over and showed him Michael Myers, since I figured he would remember that one, and Freddy Krueger, and he picked that one out. But it was like, we actually, for maybe the first time ever, had this little moment where we actually bonded over something. It's like, that's kind of weird. And granted, if it was like 10 years ago, we wouldn't have had that same conversation because I wasn't as into horror movies. Well, not the same kind. Used to, I just watched like the ones about like possessions and stuff. More so than like the slasher flicks. Now I can go either way and kind of laugh at all of them. But yeah, I thought I really liked Insidious today. That one actually reminded me of when I was working night shift at a group home. Because there's this one client that he always enjoyed hanging out with me, and he was a nice guy to have around. So, he'd come down before he'd go up to bed, and we'd watch movies or something. We would we got into the Resident Evil movies. We watched those together. And then Insidious was another one. Like, we watched some of those. And when we watched the first one, I didn't love it. And it was something about the little demon guy, I don't know, it just seemed lame to me at the time. And he loved the movie. It's like, all right. So, and one of the times that I worked there, I took a little hiatus and then I'd go back. I actually frequently did that. I started that job in November 2006. And then I left in 2007 because mental health was just kind of exhausting to me. And then I ended up going back to a different location in May of 2008. And when I started, I was, part-time evening shift, I think. And then then our part-time night shift guy left, and I picked up the part-time night shift, so I was doing part-time evenings, part-time nights. I mean, which was just tiring, but it was still a good job. But it was like, there were a few times that I left it and then went back to it. And, you know, even when I moved to Alabama, the first time, okay, I left to go in the military. And then, of course, since I went National Guard, I ended up coming back home and working back there again. Then I got, before I got married, I decided to try something else for a little while, and then ended up going back to it. And then we moved to Alabama, and then I went back, or then I had to leave it again. But then when I moved back up here, see, we moved in June or July of 2016. It was when we moved. It was 2015. Yeah, all it runs together. I think it was 2015, actually. Yeah. Okay, so 2015. So, you know, we moved down south, and then I quit, but didn't entirely quit. I guess I still had my foot in the door. And then when I ended up leaving him after I'd been there, I came back home December 1st. I know that because I felt bad leaving on our anniversary. So I waited until the day after the anniversary and then left. Which is kind of like, what the hell's the point? If you're leaving, right? But I did that. And then I finished out school, so 2016, you know, I did my last semester and graduated seminary, and then quit for good. And that was finally when I actually quit and never went back. And it's kind of interesting because that place doesn't even exist now. They closed that particular location somewhere in the past few months. And that was the place I had a coworker from that passed away back in February or March. I think February. Yeah. I don't know. That was interesting. You know, I feel like made the effort to come over here and do a video, and now it's like, well, now what you going to talk about? I don't know. I still have, there are some things that I like have gotten up and written about overnight, and I know there's more to them that I need to, I mean, I don't know if I just need to suck it up and talk about it or if there's two guys walking. I just saw them in the side mirror, so I'm hoping they're not obnoxious and get my dogs wound up here in a second. Look like they're going that way. Yeah, I might be slow on the thinking process, thought processing with my platelets today. I'm tired. Yeah, that's something I can talk about. So I got this request. Okay, last year. Yeah, I started. Nope, here we go. I literally started walking the other way, and then Gidget saw. I don't know if she heard him, but that's probably what got it. She was being good. Anyway, so yeah, last year, you know, I had some of these messages pop up with, you know, I was trying to progress on my healing journey and all that fun stuff, and I kept having these messages that popped up saying, hey, do something for somebody else. Like, what can I do? So it's like, what can I do? Donate time in some way. And, I came up with this whole blood donation thing. So I went and did that. And I think like the second or third time I went to donate blood, and they're like, hey, have you thought about platelets? It's like, I know nothing about that. What do I do? What does that mean? And they talked me into joining their little platelets club or whatever. And basically I get emailed if I don't, you can donate platelets. It has to be 7 days in between donations. And at least 7 days, but up to, within 14 days, you're really good to go. If I don't go back within 14 days, I start getting emails about, hey, we could use you, that kind of stuff. The other day I got one that said, congratulations, you're eligible to donate. Okay, I can do it. I got nothing else going on. Why not? And it was, at first, they gave me this little platelets club or team platelets mug, and it's like, all right, that's kind of cool. And I appreciated the fact because it was like this green, which was the roller derby colors, my roller derby jacket that I still live in, even though I've retired. And shit, today it just goes with the outfit splendidly because, we're rocking Beetlejuice. So, yeah. But anyway, I got this mug, and, they gave me like a little speaker thing or something. And it was fine, whatever. Got a couple shirts along the way. It's like, they don't do this for the recognition of it. And, I felt really weird with the shirts. And then, okay, especially, they sent me this, pledge however many times. I think it was like, pledge at least 18 times to donate in 2024. It's like, well, I can do that. I feel like I'm pretty committed to doing it. And I'm pretty sure I can handle 18 times. So I did that. And then they gave me one of those little cards to keep track of how many times I go and all that fun stuff. My little platelets tracker thing. So today was lucky number 13. Although she didn't sign off on my weekend date, which was the second weekend that I've done. If you have 8 weekend donations, they give you like one of those cooler bags. Yeah, I don't care. But, after like 6 donations, you get a shirt, and then after 18, you get either a tumbler or a vest. And then if you do 8 weekend donations, it's the cooler bag. And when I first was talking to my mom about it, it's like, well, I feel kind of, I don't know, I don't do this because I want a bunch of people to say, hey, she donates, yay, good job. That's not the point of it. The point of it was just, it was something to do, basically to keep me busy and help somebody else. And it's something, it's kind of useful because, okay, my grandpa's had leukemia, and, he's had a couple other types of cancer too. But he's had a lot going on, and I think a couple weeks ago, they took him over to the hospital to check his numbers for something, and he ended up spending 4 hours there because he had to get a blood transfusion. And so when my family looks at me all crazy, it's like, look, if it wasn't for people like me doing this, that wouldn't have been there for him to receive that, right? So I just look at it as kind of contributing in a way I can at a time when I don't really have a whole lot of income or anything else that I feel especially productive with. So, but I can give my blood, damn it. That I can do. So, I was talking to my mom one day. It's like, I wasn't going to get the shirt that, from the 6th time. And she's like, well, but they want you wearing their stuff. And, just when we were having the conversation, she's like, it does make sense that they would want me to wear their stuff for the sake of maybe somebody else out there didn't realize that was the thing that could be done. So maybe they realized that, quit licking the seat. Maybe they realize because I'm wearing a shirt that, hey, this is something else you could consider. And maybe, maybe they see it as a possibility, and next thing you know, they're donating and contributing to the supply, and somebody else, gets helped from that or whatever. So since you put it that way, and since I see it that way now, it's like, I don't feel as bad about donating and wearing a shirt that has the organization's name on it and shows other people that, hey, platelet donation is a thing. Today's shirt that I got is just the current one they have for the season was the Grateful Bled. Which is kind of weird, but whatever. Just roll with it. I don't know that I need like half of my wardrobe being their shirts or anything. But hey, even if I just skate in them, I'm at least able to get sizes that fit now. And, my Tassie. Yeah. Anyway, I'm down a couple sizes from where I started at, so it's like I like skating in stuff that fits. I like wearing stuff that fits better. God, a while back, I sent a picture of this plant that I've had for a while to my friend Roxy. Well, that's her derby name, but she's the one that I got the tattoo with and was skating with last weekend, and we've gotten together a few times. She's the one I usually talk about. But anyway, we no, I don't remember why I said mentioned her. Give me a second, it'll come back to me. Tattoo, yeah. That was not the point. Oh, it was almost there. It was right there. Shit. That train just completely derailed. It's like right there. It's like I'm trying to get it, and I can like see it, but I can't grasp what it was. Shit. Yes, my brain is fabulous. Was it skating related? I don't remember. Quit licking the seat, dude. My children get out of control. Let me pause it. I feel like my brain just like quit. I got nothing. I have no idea what I was trying to talk about with her or anything. It's just gone. Love it when my brain does that. Well, I'd love to say it's not a common thing, but I think my other videos show otherwise. Probably amplified by the fact that I did donate today. That's gonna annoy the crap out of me. That will annoy the crap out of me the rest of the day if I just cut this off right here. It's gonna annoy me. What the hell was I talking about? Oh shit. okay, so what can I talk about? Maybe that's the approach we should go with. Is there anything useful I can come up with on the spur of a moment now? Maybe not. She's like one of the few people that I talk to these days. And I talk to her quite a bit, so that could really be anything. I was talking about, hey, dog's just looking at me like, what are we doing, kid? It'll be dark soon. So there's that whole thing. And you know, when I go back and rewatch this video, decide if I'm gonna do anything with it or not, then I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. Okay. I see it so clearly now. I feel like this has been a little chaotic today. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And if we're rolling on the end of just discipline to make stuff happen, you know, I pulled a card the other day that was talking about just commit 20 minutes of every day to doing, or to working toward the thing. And I don't know, this is kind of a weird thing to consider to be the thing, because I don't know that it is. There's at least a step on the path. But, you know, the first videos I did, I was going to, okay, if I hadn't deleted all of them off when I took my hiatus, then I would have left the first one, which when I went back to it and rewatched it, I didn't like it at all and deleted it. But I feel like the whole part where, you know, I haven't known what I was going to do or what I am ever talking about along the way. It's just whatever happens, happens. And we just kind of roll. And I kind of like that way of being in my life, just kind of going with the flow. I'm getting better at that. It's not something I've done easily in my lifetime. See me snoring. Yeah. But, like, I feel like even the messy parts of the journey are relevant, right? So today feels pretty kind of, yeah. It's pretty messy. Just this video. Probably my lack of coherency myself. And I really want a cookie. I ate the last one earlier, so got these. We have the mint kind. Every now and then I just get on a cookie kick, and we had these ones that were really, really good. They were sea salt and caramel chocolate chip. And I finished the last one of those that I had cooked the other day before my appointment. You know, today's appointment was kind of weird. Like, I focused on the movie, and that was helpful because it made time go by a lot faster. And it was a weird day across the board. Like, I normally go on Tuesdays. I've gone on Wednesdays. I think I've even gone on Thursday. I went once on a Saturday. Today was my second Saturday that I've ever done. You know, and I was kind of thinking, well, if I do 8 on the weekends, I got 6 more of those. I would get the little cooler bag thing. I don't know. I don't need it. It's probably nice, I'm sure, but yeah, I don't really need it realistically. So, let's crimpy, weird hair thing happening. But I went today. Now, granted, I was a little late, like 5 minutes late. And it was so freaking busy. I was like, I don't know that I love this. Of course, if I am considering that they send me emails when it's been a couple weeks since I last donated, they probably send a lot of emails to, other people. And, it says like we need X amount of donors on Thursday, X amount Friday, X amount Saturday, X amount Sunday. And then I think the one thing I saw that had all of them said 139 needed for like over 4 days going into the weekend. Taz. And so I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and donate, right? So I signed up. Hey, quit licking. God, it's so gross. But I went there and it was crazy. And, first thing I did, every single time I get there, first thing I do after I sign in is go to the bathroom. Gotta wash my hands anyway before, they check to make sure my hemoglobin's okay and all that fun stuff. And then, yeah. Normally I'm hydrating on the way over there. But today, they had so many people there donating platelets that I ended up waiting for a few minutes. It's like, that's different. And I did message Roxy. We'll go back to her because she asked me about this one class. She signed up for our fitness class today. And she was like the only beginner in the class, but she was trying to talk me into going last night. And it's like, I already have plans. But, yeah. So I messaged her, and it's like, I remember why I don't come on weekends. It is crazy, and I would much rather be there when it's chill during the week. The bonus on today was I had, this car that I am currently in does not have satellite radio. So I got to listen to, local stations. Or I do have this little Bluetooth thing that is just lovely. Except if I'm going that direction, it makes my phone go weird and it'll randomly start calling people or texting people. And it was funny because back in the spring, there was a day I was really ticked off at my dad about something. And on the way back from one of the classes at the little metaphysical shop, I was trying to listen to music and my music was cutting off, but then all at once I hear something talking and realize I apparently called my dad. And I looked at the phone and I was like, wait, did I call you or did you call me? He said, you called me and you called me 4 or 5 times. It's like, I was not planning on it and I was not trying to. But I thought it was funny because I was really irritated at him at the time. And then, of course, that was who my phone called. And I don't know if it has to do with that particular station that it's linked through, having something going on down there. But it's more trouble than it's worth, so usually I will just listen to music on my phone, which, of course, is not through the speaker system and is really lame that way. Otherwise, I'll sit here quietly and just drive in silence. That used to drive me nuts, and now it does not bother me at all. It's most of the time I'm in the car, it's pretty quiet. Not always, but most of the time. Yeah. Oh, so today, since, parents are elsewhere, I drove the other car. So I actually got to listen to the satellite radio and listen to what I wanted to listen to, and it was kind of nice. And if I would have wanted to, I could have listened to the Bluetooth, and it would have been just my phone through the radio in the car, and not through this little side number. This car has an auxiliary connection spot, and it doesn't work, and it makes me very sad. And I actually, the last time we had any work done on it, I meant to ask the guy how much it would cost to fix that, because he was already working on the car. And it's my uncle's friend, so not the same uncle I was talking about before, but another uncle. His friend does it, so it's not as crazy expensive as It could be. So yeah, but I didn't. Oops. I'm just scattered today. I feel like, Taz, I need you to quit licking. Taz! He can't believe I'd yell at him. Hi, Tazzy. What's he doing? You don't want to be yelled at. Stop it. Yeah. Still got a lot of the stuff I can do on the cleanse and purge part of this journey. But I have not done as much this weekend as I anticipated on that. Although yesterday's was pretty big. I'm putting the laundry away. I got on Facebook the other day and saw I had a post talking about run the dishwasher twice. And, it's this little story of a lady talking to her therapist and what's the thing that's bothering you the most. And she said that it sounded stupid, but it was the dishes. And she didn't want to have to wash them twice, but the dishwasher wasn't that good. So she had to wash them by hand or scrub them by hand before she put them in the dishwasher, and to have them get washed that way. And the therapist just said, so while that's the struggle, run the dishwasher twice. It's such an easy fix. And yet, those easy fixes are so easy to not think of, or to think it's stupid or whatever, But I feel that, I have been dragging my feet a little on my cleaning and purging project. I'll go and get really productive for a few days, and then it's I have to recover from it. And I have kind of been in that, and then it's is it just recovering, or are we returning to stagnation, or what are we doing? But they're so very closely related. And it's I get productive and I do something, and then I'll have thoughts where I want to do something for a video or whatever, and then I'll do something that I'm really actually proud of, and then I'll go back and do some more working around the house, purging stuff, whatever, and then I get to a point where it's just I hit a wall, and then it's I want to do things, but I don't do things, but I really want to. But then just thinking about doing it, I don't even know what the block is necessarily, because had every intention of doing it when I went outside, and it's it's cold. And it's my hair keeps standing up right here because the wind was blowing, and and it's cold. And then it's oh, well, there's also Buddha yelling in the office. And all these reasons why it's not convenient or conducive to what I'm working on or thinking through or whatever. But then at the same time, I'll have some of those times where I get really productive, and I'm up in the middle of the night for 2 or 3 hours writing because I have a train of thought that I need to put on paper. And then that's still a big part of the big overlying project, I think. And the past year, I have almost been doing this YouTube thing for a whole year. My very first video that I did was 11/11 last year. I gotta say, I know my videos are kind of rough, but at the same time, I am pretty proud of myself because this is not something that I would have anticipated ever doing. there's been certain things that I've always seen and I always have known for myself is on the journey somewhere. Like, while I was the second born of an, my mom's the oldest of 3 and my dad's the oldest of 6. And then of course my brother's the oldest. It's like I'm in a house of oldests and I'm the second born, also youngest, since it's just the 2 of us. But it's like, I've never really pushed to want, okay, as I've seen from the oldest children on occasion, they can push their weight around to get what they want a little bit easier. I don't think my brother's necessarily as bad about that, but I've seen my mom do it with her sisters, and I've kind of seen my dad with his family a little bit. That was a shit ton of geese. Anyway, and I've just seen that dynamic. But I've always known that some part of my journey, leadership is involved. And it's like, I don't really know what, I have some ideas of what that looks like, but I don't know how to get to that point, because where I am right now with this process still seems kind of far away from that. But I know that's still something that ultimately I'm working toward. And this, I feel, has done huge, it's moved me in huge ways to get closer to that point. Because, last year, before I started this whole thing, I was just, I don't want to talk to anybody. It's like, I knew that, part of my path is involved, public speaking to some degree is involved, whether that's just through writing or whether that's through this, medium, or whether there's something beyond that even. I know that there's some degree in which public speaking is involved. Where I was a year ago, could not have done that. Where I am now is a lot closer, but I still have some hurdles, and there's still the back and forth. It's still a journey, and I'm still learning. I'm always learning. So at least there's that. But that being the youngest in a house of oldest, yet, one of the big things on the leadership end is I'm a life path 1, which is basically leadership. So it's like, I always knew it was there. And, the 1 year that I had the opportunity to potentially get put in a leadership slot earlier than most, it was, band, when I was in high school, mostly the section leader positions went to juniors and seniors, but occasionally it would fall to some random sophomore that, had the skills or whatever and was just conveniently placed in the right spot. So when the girl that was section leader when I started, so for my 8th grade and freshman year, she was our section leader. My sophomore year, her June? No. Okay. I think it was her junior, maybe. I don't remember. Anyway, that's irrelevant. She went to, I think it was her senior year, and she went back to her original instrument, which was like baritone or, no. Something in the horns. I don't remember. Don't really care. We weren't that close. I mean, I loved her when she was my section leader. When I was a sophomore, it was her senior year, and she decided to go play her original instrument. No, clarinet. that's going to annoy me. And it's completely irrelevant, but it's going to annoy me just because it's something that can annoy me. Anyway, so her senior year, she goes to a different instrument. And I was all excited because I had like the most seniority of the others in the section at that point, except for like there's just one random dude who's on auxiliary percussion that he wasn't really leadership material, but he also didn't play keyboards, and keyboards were like a big part of, if you're going to be the pit section leader, you should probably be playing the keyboards. So I wasn't worried about him, but she's all excited about making the switch. I was all excited about the possibility of getting in the leader slot, and then I found out her friend that was homeschooled but had played piano for like forever was going to go to our high school her last year rather than just be homeschooled, and she was going into the leadership slot. It's like, what? I wanted to hate her so bad when that whole thing came up, and it's just like, I couldn't. It's like, damn it, I like her too much. But I wanted to hate her. That's pretty much how everything has gone. When I have really wanted to be upset at somebody or have something against them, then I either like them too much, or I see, like my cousin and the one guy that was his real good friend that, he was kind of the mouthiest of the bullies in my grade. It's like, I always could see them and see their family situation and know that while I hated everything about what I was going through and experiencing because of them, I also understood and recognized the fact that they had their own jacked up lives outside of, the shared space and the school dynamic. And it's like, my cousin, I could see all sorts of stuff with his family. And of course, that was a little bit more closely connected. And I've talked about a lot of the family drama on that end. The other guy, his mom basically treated his dad like a doormat, and she was really loud and mouthy, and you could tell she wasn't really, she wasn't going to win Mom of the Year anytime soon. And she always had that kind of heavy on the snark and disrespecting like the people around her, like just in her personality. That was just how it was portrayed. And yeah, and I think, I always just saw their situations. It's like, I don't like what they're doing and saying about, or doing to and saying about me, but at the same time, I can also appreciate the fact that they have a wound they are living from too. And that was, I could see them living from their wound, and that was why they were taking it out on me. And even the two older guys that were part of it, it's like, I always, the one guy that was the worst of the worst, I always saw him as that kid whose dad didn't want anything to do with him. He basically walked out on the situation from what I overheard and what I felt from those conversations about them, because his mom was one of my mom's best friends until she passed away. And then that was one of those things where she died when I was 30, I think, and that was the first time I was around any of the bullies after high school. And he still, at his own mother's funeral, was looking at me like he knew something about me, and like it was something wrong with me, kind of a thing. And it's like, That's fucking bullshit. You know, but at the same time, if you don't heal the wound, you live from the wound. You lash out at people from the wound, because hurt people hurt people. You know, and that's just how it is. You know, so that's been one of those things that throughout my lifetime I have wanted to do differently and not just live from the wound. And that takes a lot of healing to be able to do that. And then some days you get pushed right back into it because there's a new aspect of it you got to heal and work through. And then it's like, well, shit, here we go again. I thought I was over this. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's almost dark. It's almost dark, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And maybe tomorrow's will be more coherent and fabulous. I don't know. And maybe it won't. Maybe we're just winging it until something starts panning out otherwise and like moving more favorably. Like I still do have some decent conversation pieces to speak on that I have woken up and written about. And you know, it always starts about something where it was a wound of my past, but then it starts leading me down this other path, and I start looking at things differently and seeing it from different angles. And yeah, I'm gonna, not continue on that. So, if you stuck out this ridiculous video, I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate you however far you made it. Because, you know, like I said, this is the whole thing, this whole process, you know. Last year, I got my first 3 subscribers and about had a meltdown because it's like, what did I say that made them want to follow me? That seems silly. And then, yeah, like, that's been a process too. And last I knew, I was up to 12. I don't look at that very often, because I just don't want to. I pulled a card the other day that was talking about monitoring your expansion, because too much too soon can be overwhelming. And it's like, I feel like that has been the key for this whole journey. Just slow and steady. We're changing the core foundation of who I am now, because now I'm capable of doing this thing that I never would have imagined that I would have been able to do before. You know, even knowing at a very deep level that it's something that I'm supposed to be doing, I didn't really take myself seriously on getting there. So that's kind of, that was kind of like, I told Roxy yesterday, you know, she does not buy into the whole twin flame thing. And she said something about her polyamory group said something about that was like a whole lot of sketch on the twin flame group. It's like, really? You like one, you don't like the other. Just because that one's not your path doesn't mean it's invalid. You know, and the same thing, like, I am in no way somebody that would be happy in a polyamorous situation. And I had a good friend, you know, several years ago that was, and just the way she would talk about it, it's like, I don't believe that you're happy, but I mean, if it's working for you, then that's your path. And I know very much that I would not be happy in that situation, so I'm leaving it alone because it's not my path. This other thing, Might sound crazy, but I know it is my path, you know, and that's a big thing with Roxy and with my brother. They listen to me, and there's that element where I can feel that they almost feel sorry for me that I kind of believe into this stuff, but it's like, if you had experienced my life in the past several months and like how much things have changed, then you would realize that, you know, it's kind of, for me, it's undeniable that this is a thing that is legit and actually happening. And now I'm realizing that, you know, where that was a key piece of my life growing up was I always had to learn to trust myself over everybody else. And I always trusted everybody else over myself. And it never got me anywhere favorable. You know, it's because of this stuff, because I know I'm supposed to be talking about it, and not exclusively, because that's not the only population that I want to, you know, help in any way on this journey. It's just part of my path. And I think that whole bit with learning to trust yourself is something everybody can go through. It has to figure out for themselves too, because we all want to think other people know better than we do, because at some level it's easier and safer to think somebody else is pointing you in the right direction, even though when you get to the end of it you find out they didn't know jack shit either. But yeah, like that's the big thing. And I know, like, okay, my cousin that I talk the most with about any of this stuff, she believes me. I feel pretty confident that she believes me, even if it might not be her experience. She can get where I'm coming from, and, you know, she's also a Pisces, so we have that water element in common, which is very helpful. But, you know, like my brother and Roxy, and I think I've talked to a couple other friends about it too. It's not their path, so they're not going to get it. But when I'm committed to it, and one of these days it does work out to where I actually seem to have known what was going on, then they're going to be like, well, how'd you get to know this shit? It's like, because I trusted myself after all this time, damn it. That's why. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to be in the dark here real soon, because I'm not sitting under any street lights. There's some close, but not close enough that it'll make a difference. So I'm going to wrap this up, take these sleeping puppies home, and I might clean something. Maybe I'll watch something. Who knows? I don't know what I'm going to do. Honestly, probably do some journaling and go to bed before too long, because I like bed. Sleep is one of my favorite pastimes, so yeah. Yes, but I figure I will probably try this again tomorrow. That discipline element, I need to start making this a habit / priority a little bit every day. And even if, I mean, they're not all going to be good. Like today, I'm pretty confident this video is not not very good, but I stuck it out. And I'm going to go home and watch it and figure out what the hell I lost myself with in the middle of it, and then be like, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. But here we are. Yeah. So as always, I appreciate you. Till the next time. See ya.